Live and alive.
No, don't say it. She's not here.
Live from the bottom of your ESG-approved compost bin, where even your eggshells are voting against all shareholder proposals this year. It's a Business Pants Friday show here at September 6th Studios, featuring one of your favorites, just one. Analyst Hole, Matt Moscardi.
That might be an oversell.
Just one. You're the only one left. You're the only one left.
I know. It's just us.
Where's Jesse and Ari? Where'd they go?
Started.
Where are they?
I don't know. Jesse is digging a hole somewhere, drinking kombucha, and Ari, I think, went back to fixing engines or something. I don't know.
Jesse's digging a hole and Ari's filling up that hole as Jesse's digging it.
With her tears?
That's sort of how their relationship worked. On today's weekly wrap-up, beer drinkers are officially racist. Porn is better than Google.
Yeah,
Jim Cramer rips off Free Flow, and your big oil CEO might be firing your kid's professor. I don't like the sound of that one.
I don't know what that one is.
A lot of weird teases there. And I don't like how the music stopped midway. It made me feel self-conscious.
Well, it didn't stop for everyone else. It's just your volumes.
Okay. I'm revealing the game. Okay.
Let's just jump right into it. I have a lot to say today.
Yeah, okay. Today's show was brought to you by freeflowanalytics.com. Everything you ever wanted to know about who runs public companies, all for free. That's freeflowanalytics.com, not to be confused with freeflow.llc, our corporate page, where if you're interested, you can download some of Matt's latest deep data dives, right?
Data drops.
Data drops.
We talk about data all the time in this show, on these shows. And it occurred to one of our listeners that they want the data that we're talking about. So they just said, can you make it available on the website? So that's what we did. For like $25, you can get like data.
I call bullshit because I basically joke every episode that you're going to make the data available, right? And you say, yeah, sure. So if they're really listening, they know that we're a bunch of liars.
No, we don't. The thing is, I don't listen to you.
Oh, well, that's good.
That's the problem.
Appropriate.
All right, let's do
Come on. It's taking me 17 minutes just to scroll through your section, so I'm happily going to be pretty short on mine. Story of the week, in no particular order. Volvo. This is something we praised. I'm sure it was on the Good Game. I'm sure it got a 10 from everybody. Volvo has already given up its plan to sell only electric vehicles by 2030. They're out in their pledge. It's over.
I don't. So this is like the third or fourth massive car company to do this. Why is everyone quitting?
I mean, if you look, I'm speaking only to car manufacturers now. So if you're not one, just turn off the radio, turn off whatever you do, turn off your iPhone, whatever you do, and just listen. Just car manufacturers. If you build only electric vehicles, they're still going to buy those cars. People want to buy cars.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to find somewhere to plug it in.
The thing is, if you build the vehicles and that's all you sell,
that's what they're going to buy.
That's all anyone can buy.
Yeah.
That's the way that works.
Yeah.
You all were doing it, and now you're all backtracking.
Is this is their version of like this? The anti, I'm teasing the next story. Is this their version of the anti-DEI world we're living in now? It's like the
think so. I actually
environmental world. What is this?
There's some version of
only pay attention to sales, month-to-month sales. That's it. Only pay attention to that.
It's like they're really expensive. The EVs are really expensive, and I think all of the car manufacturers woke up one day and they were like, we just got into the software business, because an EV is just a giant battery and software, where
I don't know if
a gas car is like got moving parts, and it's like there's fire involved, and they were really good at that. And now they're realizing we suck at software. I don't know what the thing is, but
what would be a good apology, Volvo? Why don't you buy a subway pass for everybody?
You know what would be great? If the boards of these companies actually 10 years ago had the skills required to make EVs now.
How about if we held them accountable to their promises? How about that?
Yeah, how about why don't we just start there?
All right, next. This is, unfortunately, this is backing on your report last week. I think you reported on the Friday show about, who was it? Who went anti-DEI?
Ford. Oh, two companies.
Ford and
another company, but both backtracked.
And I pointed out that Ford was a family firm, so really it was the family that made a decision. So another family firm, Molson Coors, and another beer company has pumps the brakes on DEI practices. So this is kind of a combination of those, right? So what we've learned is that beer drinkers are racist and that family firms don't have to worry about corporate governance and just make their own decisions.
Yeah, I think we need to stop calling it DEI is what they're stopping. They're just stopping the D.
It's soft.
The
soft
E and the
racism.
I no one has a problem with, right?
I call this like soft racism, right? Right? I mean, what else
like
is this?
cuddly racism?
But what else is this? Like, anyway, I feel like we already did this joke, but I'll do it again. I think on earlier this week I talked about the Ford family.
I hate this.
And I pointed out that of the 28 executives and 15 directors, only 2 were black, 2 black guys. Which this is America, first of all, and this is Detroit, Michigan.
Wait, what?
Detroit, Michigan. So it's pretty shocking. But how about this from Molson Coors? Here it's one white South African CEO dude named Gavin. 0 of 9 black executives and 2 of 14 black directors. But there are 2 black members on the board, but there are 4 white dudes from the Molson and Coors family with 80% influence according to our data. So if you want all that information, go to freeflowanalytics.com. But that's the Molson Coors leadership team.
I don't like these stories. Do they have to be the story of the week?
Well, how about this one? Yeah. I was thinking about who's next. So I looked at beer companies run by family firms, and there's one in Denmark called Carlsberg, right?
Ooh.
And believe it or not, I was doing my research about the demographics of the population of Denmark, and as I was typing it in, Google filled it out for me, and the question is, are there black people in Denmark? Right. This is not the United States, Denmark, right? Like there's not a lot of black people in Denmark, but even
was the answer yes?
Even they have a black person on their board.
Oh, they figured that. Well, not for long.
Okay, but still,
not if this trend continues.
They're owned by the family firm owned by the Carlsberg Foundation, 77% of stock ownership. So do you think they're next? You think non-U.S. companies will do this?
No, does
they're not
drink
idiots.
Carlsberg here?
Right?
I mean, like this seems like a uniquely American experience,
right? Where there's a greater amount of diversity. That's where we're pulling back on diversity.
That's where we're pulling back on diversity. That makes the most sense.
The third story of the week. This is an oldie but goodie. This is back when people actually liked ESG, Matt.
When was that? I don't remember.
I'm going to date it for you. This is the headline. Ex-Volkswagen CEO to finally face trial 9 years after Dieselgate scandal rocked auto industry.
Wait,
and yes,
no. People did not like ESG then either.
And yes, he actually has a name. His name is Martin Winterkorn, so I don't know why that name was left out of that story. But Martin.
I mean, it's a ridiculous name if we're honest.
So for those of you who don't remember, Volkswagen admitted in 2015 that it had installed software to rig emissions levels in millions of vehicles worldwide.
Yeah, that was arguably the first big ESG case study.
Yeah,
like that
right?
was the ESG people, like the data providers, all went out and said, See,
like people make
matters.
Decisions, right?
Yeah, it looks.
It
like
wasn't AI.
Actually,
yeah,
it
wasn't machine learning. It wasn't it wasn't an engineering protocol. It was actually people making these decisions.
But everybody laughed at ESG then too. Right. So I'm not sure that this changed, but this was the beginning. And then by 2020 in the pandemic, no one had anything to do, so they all did ESG data. And then after that, now we have Molson Coors.
And finally, the fourth story of the week. I'm sorry to do this, but it's relevant to our world. The headline is Trump calls for regulatory bloodbath, asks Musk to lead task force on drastic cuts. So basically, the idea they're floating now is that Elon Musk will become the regulatory czar and just get rid of all regulations in the U.S. I'm not saying it's plausible, but this is what they're floating. And I want to just so you have an understanding of this world that we like to report on every week. I just wanted you to update on a few of the headlines just in the past week about this man, Elon Musk, that the investors at Tesla and the board keeps keeping as their boss.
That's right. They keep
here are a
him
few
there.
of the
Keep
newest
him around.
headlines. Elon Musk deletes Nazi apologist tweet after near universal backlash. Elon Musk suggests that government should be replaced by dudes with high testosterone. So that's just that's just in the past week. Yeah. So those are your 4 big stories, Matt.
I don't like any of them.
Well, it was a challenging
It's car
week.
heavy
It was a
this
challenging week.
It's car heavy. It's Volvo and Volkswagen
Car and beer.
both making it, and
Yeah.
Tesla.
Yeah.
It's man, yeah. You know what? This actually is going to segue neatly into my one of my asshole nominees.
And you know what? The glory of not having Jesse and Ari, because they're busy digging and filling
They
up
just
holes,
choose.
is
Yeah,
that there's no tiebreaker system, Matt. You are the
whatever
wizard
I say
of the Friday
is
show.
the story of
Yeah.
the week.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think the story of the week is I think it has to be Volkswagen CEO.
Oh, interesting.
Look,
9 years later. How about
9
that?
years later, it's finally the story of the week.
The
right?
efficiency of the German bureaucracy. Yeah.
It's unlikely. I mean, he could get jailed for 10 years,
Yeah.
which means that 9 years from now, we might be talking about a CEO like the Nikola CEO or Musk, who faces an actual trial that might actually matter.
Pavel Durov of Telegram. Yeah.
Let's keep our fingers crossed that there is some sort of accountability. But I'm going to go with as this is the start of that.
I mean, this guy is
I'm good with
he's 77 years old, so they better wrap this up soon if it's going to be a punishment.
Oh no, they'll
that
delay it
matters.
for another 5 years before it actually starts, most
right.
likely.
Well-
But I like that it's back in the headlines, so I'll go with that.
All right, that's the story of the week.
It's not really. I don't know.
I think it is in a lot of ways. I mean, I think it's a story worth revisiting, and I'm glad this. Maybe it's just uniquely German, but I'm glad he's facing trial for something, right? I don't feel like this would happen in the U.S.
It just feels like it
unless you're a
rarely
woman.
ever gets to a trial, right? Like they
Unless
never.
you're Martha Stewart or Elizabeth Holmes. It
Yeah,
doesn't
and
really
then you're
happen
in jail
here.
7 minutes
Yeah.
after you sneeze.
Then they're whisking you away and they're commenting on your pantsuit.
All right, let's do good list of the week. This is the category where we realize how much we miss Ari and Jesse.
Speak for yourself.
All right, I pulled
You, this is
3
you
and a
or
half
this Ari?
stories.
Okay.
This is me.
Yeah.
That's so it's not going to be great. All right, story number 1. Here's the headline. After another Boeing letdown, NASA isn't ready to buy more Starliner missions.
Why is this good?
Because I just love that. Look, Boeing had a $2 billion future contract with
accountability.
NASA. And I love that even as investors vote Calhoun back in, they vote for his pay. They elect everybody on that board, reelect them all, and they're begging people to be the CEO of it. Now they have a new CEO in Kelly Ortberg, right? I just love that as investors have no accountability. NASA's like, you build sucky stuff. I'm not sure we want to buy it from you anymore. I like that.
Well, but it
Makes me
does
feel
say,
good. There's some sort of accountability.
and I'll fight the way we fight against Ari. It does say isn't ready to buy, so maybe they'll be ready in November
That's true. They could be. They could be ready
when the price goes down. When
in 3
Boeing lowers
weeks.
the price, yeah.
But like this is Dave Calhoun's legacy, right? Like this is what investors paid for. They got a guy who built a thing that took a decade that didn't work
Okay,
for the 3rd time.
I'm not
right?
feeling good. Let's make me feel better on the next one.
All right, here's the next headline. Study playing Dungeons and Dragons helps autistic players in social interactions.
I can believe that.
All right, Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know who's listening that played Dungeons and Dragons, but it's a Hasbro company now.
played
But when
once.
I was a kid, it was just like, 4 dudes in their grandmother's basement who made it up and were sending newsletters out. But now I'd like to think of Hasbro as a healthcare company. I want to go long Hasbro healthcare.
Well, okay.
Because you've got Johnson & Johnson and Bristol Myers Squibb, who make the 2 most used drugs for autism. The drugs are the same drugs they use for schizophrenia and bipolar. They also use for, spectrums of autism. And it costs insurance. I saw an estimate that said $5,000 to $10,000 per year on the medication per patient in the United States.
Yeah, in the U.S. Yeah, in the U.S.
But you could just play Dungeons and Dragons for a $50
Hey, I'm
starter
with you.
kit,
I'm with you.
and you're off and running. It helps.
The only problem is that Bristol Myers Squibb will then buy Hasbro, and then they'll mark up the price of Dungeons and Dragons to like $17,000. Then your whole plan will be ruined.
That's an excellent point. But that's not the headline.
Yeah,
That's not
I like
this
that headline. It makes perfect sense to me.
I also like that this is like, if we're going to go full circle on Volkswagen, where we're 10 years later, we're actually having a trial. 10 years ago, Dungeons and Dragons, wasn't it like Satan's game? Maybe that was 20 years ago.
I think it still is.
But
I think it probably still is.
So I like it. We're full.
Yeah.
Now it's helpful. All right. Third story, goodliest. OnlyFans users spent $6.6 billion on creators in 2023 as more fans signed up to pay for content and messages.
No, wait. Hold on. We don't never talk about OnlyFans. Is OnlyFans a publicly traded company?
Fenix International is the parent of OnlyFans.
Okay.
It is not publicly traded.
Okay.
But here's the reason why I love it. It's hard not to love the fact that basically a porn company figured out how to pay its creators while the savory social media barons really just pay their founders. That's all they do.
Yeah.
And I pulled the data. YouTube paid creators $70 billion over the last 3 years. That's the estimate that I can
And that's
find.
a lot of creators. I mean, right? I mean,
It's like $23 billion a year. Well, they have 70 million creators, 60 to 70 million creators, right? Meanwhile, OnlyFans, which is a porn site with 300 million users and an estimated 2 million creators versus the 2.5 billion users on YouTube and 62 million creators on YouTube, they paid out $6.6 billion. Populist porn math, that's $3,300 per creator.
Right.
Versus $370
low,
a creator at YouTube.
But I like it. 10 to 1.
$370 a creator at YouTube?
Yeah.
Artists on Spotify, only 1,200 artists on Spotify crossed the $1 million a year mark. In order, they pay 0.0003 cents per spin on Spotify. That's out of 11 million artists.
Yeah,
11 million artists.
Speaking of billionaire founders,
1,200 of them actually made $1 million. Leonid Radvinsky, who owns Fenix International, that owns OnlyFans. He has a net worth around $2 to $3 billion. He pays himself.
Let's be real. I hate that I'm saying this out loud. That number actually seems low. I mean,
it seems reasonable.
I hate that I'm making this relative, but it feels low.
I'm just saying. I figured that he gets an annual dividend from being the owner for his stock holdings in Fenix of $300 million a year. Sergey and Larry Brin, who own YouTube, they own they own it. It's a private company, just publicly traded. So stop pretending it's a publicly traded company. It's private.
I asked the wrong question about OnlyFans. Yeah, go ahead.
Sergey and Larry are worth $125 billion each.
$125 billion.
And they each make $300 million a year in dividends as well. So the CEO to average creator ratio for Radvinsky, who owns OnlyFans, is 90,000 to 1.
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about, but it sounds impressive.
This is the CEO pay, like, the CEO pay ratio to median employee. I'm doing a CEO pay ratio to median creator.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
So CEO pay to median creator for OnlyFans is 91,000 to 1.
Seems high to me, yeah.
The CEO pay to creator ratio for YouTube is 1.6 million to 1.
Damn.
I love that porn's figured this out.
Yeah. Well, let's just say they're doing it better. I don't know if they've figured anything out, but they're doing it better, right?
They're doing their. I watched. This is a rabbit hole that I did not want to go down.
I don't know.
But I watched YouTube video after YouTube video discussing the different payouts for creators on different sites. And almost all of them, the OnlyFans creators were the largest earners. Every single one of them.
Okay.
TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, it didn't matter. The payouts, if you have a college dropout tech bro from Silicon Valley running your company, you make less money as a creator than if you go do porn. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. And my half story here is here's a headline. Jim Cramer compares his favorite stocks to his favorite players in an annual fantasy draft. Jim Cramer stole our bit.
Yeah.
But I love that it's there. He drafted stocks like a fantasy game. We have been running both company that we used to do company drafts.
What we did
did director drafts.
Yeah, what we did is a lot more complicated. He's taking the easy way out. I mean, you're just picking a stock. I mean, I'm
just saying.
And let's be honest. Jim Cramer represents a world of degenerate gamblers. So it's like that's a pretty easy thing to pick a stock, right? I mean, it's all horseshit. But congratulations.
But
Jim.
those are your 3.5 stories.
Oh, I get to pick.
You get to pick. There's no one else here. So, I think you're going to pick between Dungeons and Dragons and porn. I don't feel... Okay, I'm just going to go with my gut on the whole, like, goodliest thing, or what actually makes me feel good. Boeing, I don't care about... I don't know if OnlyFans makes me feel good. I don't know. I still feel I don't know. There's something empowering and great about it. It feels like.
I like this though. I like this Hasbro as a healthcare company. I think it's an interesting thought.
We'll go with that. Dungeons and Dragons.
And I think there should be more. I actually think there should be more studies like this. I mean, at least in America, where the drug prices are so high, it always seems to be the first remedy for anything instead of just playing it. How about playing a game? How about having friends? That could solve something.
But they're actually like inside of healthcare, we could reduce costs. They're like I went to go see my primary care provider. I'm in my 40s. I'm supposed to get a colonoscopy. Colonoscopies suck.
You could play Dungeons and Dragons instead. Is that what you're saying?
Instead, you could play Dungeons and Dragons. That's the way that's what he told me. Yeah, that's what he said. So
I like that. Yeah. All
right. Let's go.
Oh, it's you still.
It's me again.
We could switch the order if you want. You want to switch the order?
Yeah, do exhausting us.
Okay. In the honor of the great Jesse the Money Whisperer, mine is short. These are the 3 things I felt exhausted by this week in our headlines. And if you're curious and you want access to these headlines, they're actually on freeflowanalytics.com, right? They're on the homepage there.
They're on the homepage. All the news here makes it there.
First story, the headline is How Big Oil's Big Money Influences Climate Research. A new study offers the first comprehensive look at the ties between fossil fuel companies and universities. But here's the part that got me, because this is what we do. They're saying that the problem goes beyond just simple funding of research. Fossil fuel industry executives sit on schools' governing boards, sponsor scholarships and conferences, and seek to influence courses and curricula. I mean, this is the important connection that I know we're trying to get our hand on more and more data of, like, not only where these directors and executives sit on publicly traded boards, but we're trying to get access to everywhere they sit, right? Because these are important. This represents important connections and influence.
Honestly, the headline is exhausting.
Yeah,
but that concept is more exciting to me. I don't know if I'm supposed to be excited.
And once again, like it is such an integral and important thing that I think we leave out of a lot of our conversations, that there are actually people behind the things that are making you angry in the world, right?
I mean, like, we've been told in no uncertain terms, we've been told by investors. They said investors don't care about who runs the company. And this data, like these studies, beg to differ.
And I would say this.
Very much care.
I would say that university students who want to protest about divesting out of oil, that's fine. But more importantly, why don't you protest divesting big oil CEOs out of your university's board of directors? How about you start there? That seems like a much more direct solution to this problem, no?
This you just rabble rouse. This is not exhausting. This is exciting.
All right. Next one. This is more of exhausting. I'm calling this one CEOs as economists and legal experts. 2 headlines that it just exhausts me how CEOs think they're the smartest people in the room. First, Uber CEO warns of economic downfall as Seattle sets $26.40 minimum wage.
I like the word downfall.
Economic downfall.
That,
Yeah,
it
and
makes
by the
it
way,
sound Roman.
that man has a name. It's Dara Khosrowshahi. I'm probably butchering his name.
It's
but
probably a different name than that, but
yeah.
yeah.
Dara K. That's the Uber CEO. And also Telegram, a story that we reported on last week. Telegram chief Pavel Durov, denounces his arrest in France as misguided.
Oh,
That's his quote, misguided. Well, but that makes me think of your OnlyFans story, right? You're talking about how much money the tech bros make off of these companies. You're talking about Sergey and Larry at Google. I mean, the part that irritates me the most is that this guy thinks it's misguided for France to come after him for literally running a company that there is a rampant amount of horrible crimes going on, and yet he's taking billions of dollars to the bank. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not sure how misguided they really are, Pavel. How about that?
Ooh, shots fired.
Yeah, very weak.
He's not going to come on our show soon.
And my third most exhausting story of the week, I'm calling this one "Rich Bro Asshat Controlling Our Media." Here's another terrible headline: Larry Ellison will control Paramount after deal, according to a filing. Larry Ellison now, Matt.
Yeah, finally
is going to make decisions for your media over there at Paramount.
Finally.
I
I
mean, really, why is all I have to say.
Well, let's come back to that story.
Okay.
These are
Larry Ellison, the guy who founded software company Oracle, is going to control the media at Paramount. Why?
Larry Ellison,
Why?
who bought a Hawaiian island. Most of like the CEOs as economists and legal experts one mostly just feels like rich people like telling us because they're rich, they like to just say everything that they're thinking. And it gets taken as something important.
And this goes along with one of my stories of the week, which is inviting the wolf into the hen house, right? Donald Trump suggesting that Elon Musk will take control of U.S. regulation.
Yeah,
right?
It's just rich bros being rich bros. We both have a lot of money. We must know what we're talking about. That is exhausting. And like every time I see Jamie Dimon says... and followed by any number of things. I just wish I was dead.
He does say a lot of things. Yeah.
It just doesn't even matter what comes after. Yeah. Jamie Dimon says ... Like it's like the whole category is Jamie Dimon says. Big oil's influencing climate research is exhausting, but you got me excited.
I unearthed something there. Yeah,
I love the idea of like college. This is the gap. If you're in college right now, if you're listening to the show and you're in college, which that's 0 people currently, but if you were in college listening to the show, don't fucking pitch a tent in the front yard about like some issue you have and have that be your protest. That protest worked really well in 1967. That protest does not work well today. Today, use the levers that you know exist. Get people to vote out the trustees of your college. Get them to change the investment committee. Don't change the investment.
Identify
change the committee.
Identify the people. You know
Identify the people.
Let's not forget it that it was within the last year at Harvard that some jerk, didn't they rent like a van and they put the names of the Harvard students that were protesting?
Yeah,
so
that was...
use that as a starting guide. Identify the people at your university who are making these decisions, and Matt's right. Like, get them out.
The reality is, like when Bill Ackman attacks Claudine Gay at Harvard, he doesn't just tweet about it and then pitch a tent in his front yard and say,
he has
I'm
a lot
sit
of front
here
yards,
until Claudine Gay is gone.
Yeah.
He doesn't hold up a hand-painted sign. He calls every fucking trustee at Harvard because he knows them all by name and has their phone numbers. And he says, what are you doing about this?
When do you think the last time Bill Ackman did anything by hand? When's the last time you think he did anything?
I'm saying he goes after the people. Yeah. Like he's not using Sharpies and yelling through a megaphone. He's going after the people.
Yeah.
You can do the same thing.
Hold them accountable.
I love that.
I mean, it is true though, Matt. Imagine if you made an ongoing stink about a few board members at your university. I don't think those board members would last, really. That's that level of scrutiny.
But pick any company that you don't like. Buy the shares now. If you hold them within 3 to 6 months of the AGM, you can vote them. Get every one of your friends to buy shares in a company.
What is your vote?
And change the board.
What's your vote here?
You can do these things. I'm voting for that one. Just because I love it. It's the spirit of it. I love it. I can't, in good conscience, vote for Jamie Dimon Says. And I want to come back to Larry Ellison. Anyway,
All right, come on, bring us down. Assholiest of the week.
Let's
Come
make
on.
it worse. It looks like I have a lot, but I don't actually have a lot.
It's all right. It's all right. This is your segment.
This is Assholiest of the week. I went back to my old format.
I don't know what that
I've
means.
been doing like data, a couple data
I
points.
like the data.
And then, but I got rid of it this week.
Okay, all right.
The asshole number one, testosterone.
Uh-huh.
That's asshole number one.
High level testosterone or low level or just any?
Just come on. Can we just stop it with testosterone?
Yeah.
Here are the headlines that I saw. I'm going to read the headlines and come back to them. The first headline is why men get more credit than women for doing the same work, according to business school professor.
Okay.
There's a million studies about men getting credit, men get paid more, all of the things that men get. And yet men complain an awful fucking lot about their lot in life, considering the amount of shit they get extra and the bars they don't have to climb.
One of the political parties in the United States features two men at the top of the ticket just constantly complaining. I mean, that's all they do. All they do is complain.
Did you have another setting? We've been talking about founder mode for a week. What about turning off complaining mode? Mm-hmm. Every one of you is a big fucking complainer.
Yeah.
Here's a quote from the article. Quote, as a case in point, consider the experience of Joan Roughgarden. Joan transitioned from male to female during her tenure as a biology professor at Stanford University. When Roughgarden's colleagues perceived her as a man, they took her competence as a given. After her transition, though, Joan found she had to, quote, establish competence to an extent that men never have to. Mm-hmm. Men are assumed to be competent until proven otherwise, whereas a woman is assumed to be incompetent until she proves otherwise. I remember going on a drive with a man. He assumed I couldn't read a map. This is literally the same person who transitioned, and she went from can read a map and is competent as a biology professor to is incompetent and can't read a map. Well, because she transitioned.
This is that whole fake anti-DEI talk, right? This is the whole fake, like, if you're a black person or you're a woman, then suddenly, like, it represents a failure of a meritocracy. It's horseshit, like, right? I mean, this is what it's the equivalent.
This is the equivalent. And when I saw what you mentioned earlier, which is the headline was Elon Musk suggests that government should be replaced by dudes with high testosterone. Mm-hmm. Those two stories are this week.
And you're not, by the way, that's not the Onion. That's not a joke. That's the Tesla CEO. That's what he said. That's what he tweeted or whatever.
He retweeted something some argument that high testosterone and neurodivergent people should be basically running everything because they make better decisions. Yeah. And he was like, I agree with that. Like I actually went to Harvard, the Harvard medical article about the problems associated with high testosterone.
Okay.
They include all manner of things like low sperm counts, shrinking of testicles, impotence,
low sperm counts.
acne, ironically, headaches, insomnia, high blood pressure, all the weight gain, all these things. Sure. But the ones that interested me were mood swings, euphoria, irritability, impaired judgment, and delusions.
You know what? When I closed my eyes, it sounded like you were describing the Incredible Hulk with all those symptoms, right? Acne.
When we're talking about like
mood swings,
like measuring people's testosterone, and I love the fact that Musk railed against the woman who had a high testosterone level in the Olympics, in the boxing.
With no evidence.
Zero. And saying, like, shouldn't compete. This is cheating. This is horrible. And now saying high testosterone in men should actually qualify them to run governments.
Right.
This is bananas.
It is bananas. And he's talking to you, Tesla investors and the board.
And it made me think, actually, maybe men should be, like, we should short men as an investment asset class.
Ooh, now we're talking.
Like, if we know that these are the associations with like high testosterone, all male like teams, all the issues when you have no diversity, short them.
I like
because, and this isn't a joke. I pulled the data from Free Float Analytics. There are 69 companies in the U.S.
Sounds like an Elon Musk joke.
With 0 women on the board.
Okay.
So it would be an Elon Musk joke if they all were 50-50 male and female, but it's no women. I don't know how
he thinks
it's
that number should be higher, probably. But
he thinks, but and then there's another 10 where you have at least one woman on the board, and all of the women have 0% influence combined.
Right, according to our data, freeflowanalytics.com. Yeah.
So, like, an example is Nathan's Famous Hot Dog. They have 10 directors.
Speaking of acne, headaches, liver disease, insomnia, high blood pressure and cholesterol.
Stunted growth, increased risk of blood clots. Nathan's Famous Hot Dogs, 10 directors, 1 woman, 9 men. The woman has 0% influence according to Free Float Analytics data. 0 people of color. Jesus. When you look at their like diversity matrix, it's great. It just says 1 woman, 9 men, and then zeros everywhere else. Jesus. Insiders own 30% of the company, and they're all white dudes. But it is a publicly traded company.
And this is Brooklyn, right? Coney Island, right? I mean, yeah, we're not talking about Denmark, people.
It's not like you can't find a person of color or a woman somewhere nearby. And it's not like women don't eat hot dogs.
Right. Well, I mean,
get over
they
it.
Do, yeah.
And even the portfolio managers, the largest shareholder outside of the insiders was Gamco Gabelli, asset management company. And they have 14% of the shares. And the portfolios that hold Nathan's, it's all men who run those portfolios. Mm-hmm. This is men holding men. But my favorite was, and I put the picture in the notes here, Oglethorpe Power. It is my favorite man company board. Okay. Like if you look at the picture of this board, it is. It's like 14 of the whitest, oldest men they could find.
Yeah, it makes like Ronald Reagan look like a DEI hire.
It's really special. And they put it on the website like, here we are. Yeah. This is what we're about. Mm-hmm. I say we could short all these.
Like a dystopian novel.
It's we could do the opposite of what Musk says and short high testosterone companies.
I like it.
And I do want to mention that everyone's talking about founder mode.
Yeah, this is a big thing in the New York Times this week. Founder mode, right?
Yeah, founder mode is a code word because the headline that I saw.
What, for like rogue male CEO assholes? What's the code word?
It's male asshole. It's diaper baby men. Airbnb CEO Brian Chesky said women founders can't go founder mode like men, and it needs to change. He was making the argument that women are held to a different standard. They can't they can't go founder mode. It's a problem. We need to let them, whatever. He was trying to be inclusive.
And it's really the opposite problem is that we should be getting rid of founder mode in general.
That is correct.
Because what founder mode really represents is...
That is 100% correct.
What it really represents is basically getting most of the wealth that's generated from a corporation and like breaking every rule and regulation along the way to get there. Right? I mean...
Well, founder mode is supposed to be
destroying,
like being incredibly hands-on in your company, like micromanaging. You know, like when you hear stories about like dudes yelling at their employees because they didn't get it right, and like all the way down to the mailroom clerk.
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs is the ultimate icon of founder mode.
Also now NVIDIA's Jensen Huang is supposedly like that too.
Exactly. That's exactly what, and people are like reveling in them. Notice that all the founder mode people are just aggressive asshole men. Yeah. You know what? 5 years ago, we would have said about this, we wouldn't be revering founder mode. We'd be saying, assholes. You're all fucking assholes. There are other ways to be in the world. You don't have to be that to be successful. But only a man would coin the term founder mode as a good thing, because it means I can ignore consensus and community building, and I can do whatever the fuck I want. I can be a big diaper man baby, and I want it the way I want it when I want it.
kind of brings me back to
found a
my
mode.
joke earlier. It's like beast mode. It kind of reminds me of the Incredible Hulk, right? Founder mode is just like smash, destroy, and they're and then you're gonna dominate the market before they catch up to you, basically.
So that's asshole number 1.
Oh, this is exhausting. So what is asshole number 1? Okay,
testosterone is asshole number 1. Number 2.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Why do you need more than one? Why do you need more than one?
You need to take a break?
No,
well,
go ahead.
This next one is tough too. Asshole number 2 this week is Daddy.
Daddy?
Daddy.
Yeah.
Here are the 3 stories.
I'm a daddy.
Larry Ellison will control Paramount after deal filing shows.
Ugh.
Larry Ellison did not place the bids on Skydance. His son, David Ellison, did.
Well, it's Larry's fortune, though.
It's Larry's money.
It's his empire.
How about this one? Tyson finance chief is out of a job. The Tyson heir got the gig at 32, making him the youngest Fortune 500 CFO.
I don't know if you picked up on this nuance. I created the notes for the proxy countdown yesterday. I haven't listened to the show yet, but what I loved about the filing from Tyson Foods was they didn't mention that part in the filing.
They left it
They just
out
mentioned they have a new
entirely.
CFO. Yay, we have a new guy. They left this part out.
Not to mention that the new guy, the interim CFO, who's now CFO, his name's Kurt Calloway. He's going to be the actual CFO. I'm not sure if he's the right fit because he's only had 11 years experience as an auditor, followed by 18 years experience at Tyson
And
in
the wrong
finance
last name,
roles.
right? It doesn't have the right last name.
Meanwhile, John R. Tyson, is this not my bed, Tyson? On the other hand, he graduated in 2019, was handed a job by John H. Tyson, Daddy, where he started at Tyson Foods as the chief sustainability officer. He was given a board seat at Winrock International. He's on the Council of Foreign Relations.
Jeez,
and then they made him CFO in 2022, only for him to multiple times get drunk and screw up before they had to take it away.
John, what is it? R. Tyson? He's the Nepo baby that proves a joke on the shows that the more we make fun of you, look out. You're probably going to lose your job. The board's going to fire you eventually, or shows are going to turn on you. Yeah.
Yeah, because they listen to the show.
Of course they do.
Their
All right, so that's Daddy. That's number 2.
So Daddy, you've got Larry Ellison, and you've got the Tyson, and then third asshole is CEO Pinky Swears. It was one story that really just made me think, what a pair of fucking assholes these guys are. The headline is Albertsons and Kroger CEOs
I know what you're talking
tell
about, yeah.
skeptical government that grocery mega merger won't lead to store closures and higher prices.
Yeah, in fact, he said they're going to go down. The prices will go down.
Yeah, in fact, afterwards he was like, I guarantee $1 billion we're going to chop off prices.
Yeah.
They'll go down.
The cereal's going to be 20 cents. Come on.
Just to prove it. It's going to be fine. I'll give you gum for a nickel. That's fine. Everybody wins. Yeah, this is Kroger CEO Rodney McMullen, who has 29% influence on that board, and Albertsons CEO Vivek Sankaran.
Oh, Southeast Asian CEO
who has 12% influence on the board.
That goes with that theory, too. They never have a lot of influence.
Never a lot of influence. There are 5 board members ahead of Sankaran. It's one of the worst in our entire database.
Yeah.
5 board members ahead of the CEO.
Mm-hmm.
They promised investors if the merger closes, they'd give them a $4 billion dividend. And in testimony, this is like pre-testimony, instead of doing an antitrust hearing, this is like Congress getting testimony, sort of in a pre-trial almost. Last year, Sankaran said if the merger didn't happen, they'd be forced to close stores. Now he's saying they're in great financial condition and they promise they won't do it. They pinky swear they won't do it, and they're going to cut prices.
Yeah.
And they're going to pay a $4 billion dividend to investors.
How does that work?
Why are we listening
exactly?
to these fucking fools?
But how are we doing both? How are we cutting prices and giving out $4 billion? Yeah.
So those are your 3 options: testosterone, Daddy, and CEO Pinky Swears.
I really like that CEO Pinky Swears one. Your first 2 were so all encompassing that I have a hard time focusing. I mean, although I love the shorting, I love shorting men at companies, right? I mean, that's a brilliant idea. So I'm almost tempted to vote for that just for the brilliance of that. Daddy, come on, that's an ongoing issue. That's not a weekly.
That might be exhausting.
But I do like this CEO Pinky's. Oh, this is a tough one for me. CEO. That one did really get me. That promising
I never. It's not often you see them come out and promise something like we swear we're going to do that thing. It's vows, but like next level vows because we know they don't care about a 2050 carbon target.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to say that your idea to short high testosterone directors is one of your more brilliant ideas at this company, and I think that somebody from BlackRock should invest in us just based on that one idea.
How about if I put together that data set and put it online?
Data drop, freefloat.llc.
We'll
there you
data
go.
drop that next week.
But I'm going to vote for the CEO Pinky Swears because once again, can we hold somebody accountable for something? Right? Can we do something?
I swear.
That's my vote. That's asshole.
And guys, I swear, milk will be a nickel when I'm done. All right, let's move on to headliniest.
Oh, we're done.
We're done. I mean, it took the same amount of time as when Ari's here.
Yeah. What's wrong with us?
I don't know. That's a problem, actually.
Headliniest.
I have two headlines.
Go ahead.
The first one I picked two because the first one has no company involved in it. I just giggled when I read it.
Did I?
And it is country star Thomas Rhett. I've never heard him.
I never heard of him.
Country star Thomas Rhett says traveling without his wife helps him be a better husband and dad. I just
sounds like a J.D. Vance quote. Yeah.
I love that. I mean, who says that?
Is it wrong that I'm like proud that I don't know who that is?
No. This probably
makes me
for the
elitist,
best.
Coastal elitist. What's your other headline?
My other headline is the worst Taco Bell in the U.S. is in Florida.
Wow,
a new report says.
Yeah, of course, it's in Florida.
The part I like about that is there's a report that ranked the Taco Bells all over the country.
Aren't there like several thousand? How does one do that?
I don't know, but that's amazing, isn't it? Like the worst Taco Bell is in Florida. Report says. That was my favorite part.
I wonder if it's like an olfactory expert. Maybe it's like a German Shepherd who just smells them and then
they had to paw the picture of the worst.
I don't know.
one.
Mine is pretty stupid. My headline of the week. We are a company about people, and I just love this name, and I'm a juvenile idiot. So it made me laugh. My headline is ex-Global Affairs head Nick Pickles resigns. I mean, come on. That's a great name.
I'm voting for that one.
Nick Pickles.
I know it's juvenile, but
come on. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
It is a really wonderful
Who won the
one.
week? Who won the week?
All right, hold on. Well, who won the week? Let's do winners and predictions and let's get out of this.
Let me just go first. Mine is.
Go ahead.
Mine is continuing on with the stupid Nick Pickles. He won the week because not only does he get to leave X, but he's considering entering British politics. So maybe he'll be an MP over there.
Honestly, is there another
Nick
place
Pickles.
for him to go except
Prime
for
Minister
British,
Nick Pickles?
British politics was the only leftover place.
I know,
the only place he fit in.
What do you got?
I actually have a winner. The winner is John R. Tyson.
Wait, so R is the Nepo baby or...
R is the Nepo
baby.
I
shouldn't joke because John H. Tyson is also a Nepo baby, right?
Yes.
He's not the founding Tyson.
John R. Tyson is fourth generation.
Right,
H
exactly.
is third generation.
Exactly.
They're actually... He's the
four levels of Nepo baby.
Yeah, there's a lot of Nepo going on.
Yeah.
But John R. Tyson's the winner because finally he can get back into sustainability. Like he had to CFO for 2 years and he hated it, but they just took him out of the CFO role. Is there any reason why he can't be chief sustainability officer?
John R. Tyson, I'm begging you, don't go back into sustainability because then they're going to make this as part of their anti-ESG crusades that, sustainability hires people who get drunk and wind up in women's beds.
I'm just saying that like as chief sustainability officer, no one would have batted an eye if he got a DUI. They would have been like, of course that guy did.
Predictions.
So, I like that. Yeah, predictions. What's your prediction?
Mine's boring, but I'll tell you. It's Volkswagen responds to the trial of former CEO Martin Winterkorn by laying off 10% of its global workforce and reducing its commitment to electric vehicle manufacturing.
Oh, I don't like that one at all.
It just feels like the right time to do that. I don't know. All
right. My prediction is that Albertson and Kroger's merge and form Krogertsons.
I hope that's true.
And immediately raise prices. That is my prediction.
I've never even heard of. I've heard of Kroger. Where are these? Are these like a West Coast thing, Southern thing?
There's Kroger's around. I've seen Kroger's.
There are
before.
Kroger's in Connecticut? I've never.
Albertsons, I was in Seattle. There was
I don't
one
know.
out there. All right, that's all we got. That's Hazelnut Rawless.
Freefloat.llc for data drop. Freefloat.llc.
I'm your analyst, Matt Mascardi. Two things. New podcast launching next week on Wednesday. It's called Shareholder Primacy. It's a free float media joint. We are not on it. For once, you can
that's
you don't
the
have
best
to listen
part.
to us. It's really the best part. It's real people, and they're talking about like Tesla. Mike Levin and Ann Lipton are like accomplished human beings, and they are going to do some intersection of law, economics, and reality. So it's going to be really good. Also, Damien mentioned the data drops, freefloat.llc, the data drops section. It's its own section. Just click on it. You can see all the data we're dropping from show to show. We launched it just this past week, so you can buy a bit of data, check it out, tell us what you think. Otherwise, we will be back next week on Tuesday. We've got a good game coming. On Thursday, we got a proxy countdown.
Oh my God.
And on Friday, we'll wrap the week. Until then, goodbye.